play, kung fu play and pop off them stripes, old boy now get wet to the height.
What's happening, people? And once again, welcome back to Cubcam TV for this, another edition of Run the Rhythm, our weekly dancehall highlights section, where we look at a ton of new dancehall bangers that have landed over the weekend and break them down for you here on the channel. Very excited to get into this. As always, we're doing this sound system style. We're only going to play about a minute and a half of each tune. We don't want to spend too much time dawdling on each individual one. And obviously, if you were to run a tune in a dance, it wouldn't necessarily get played for more than a minute and a half, especially if it isn't banging. So that's what we're talking about today. We're getting into this one. First up, from Chronicler, this is the first one on today's listing. We've got 5 to get into. This one goes by the name RIP. It's an official animated lyrics video, so we're going to jump into it right about now. Let's see how this one's sounding.
Yo, Popstar, big up if falling soldiers, same way. Me the writing and the garrison with them chain. At the life, you know, we never see a next way. Spliff off a light till the grabber give me chest pain. Smarty dead already, but we are give them a next play.
Really emotive.
Please pass me escape. Yeah. When I die gone, you can't bring him back. No care how much people we killing back. But the pain friggin' heart cut up like
see, this kind of area for Chronicler is an area I really like him in. This kind of sort of dancehall, very influenced, of course, but very emotional at the same time. Very much focusing on emotive lyricism, emotive intricacies within the lyricism as well. The instrumental's cool, big kind of booming bass, booming bass lines down below, big kick drums in there as well. Very subtle melodies going on within the instrumental arrangement as well, and obviously that vocal line has a really nice kind of choral effect going on as well. Good start from Chronicler, man. This guy is one of the most versatile we've ever seen, I've got to say it.
So you want me relax, you cry tears like river. For days, my nigga, more than 20 friends gone. The darkness and no play a thing killer. Yeah. Still I look out for people where we sure we not see back, but dark them still in my heart. Dark them still in my thoughts, same way. That's why killing them for one. We don't feel no different. I'm a blood clot dog, I'm a mess down. This
is very fire, man. Again, this is what Chronicler's very good at. As I said, he's a very talented lyricist when it comes to, in a similar way to, I'm trying to think of someone who I was speaking about this about the other day, just who has an ability to kind of take very emotional topics and turn them into very melodic sounding tunes without it sounding corny, without losing that original message within the lyricism. This is a great example of that in motion, man. Chronicler absolutely killing it. Love his vocal displays on this one. The higher pitched areas we heard across the chorus block. Again, that choral effect we're getting on the vocal in general, and then on top of that as well, just the overall feel of the tune, very warm, very emotional, but in a good way. Like, this is a positive message, I feel, about something which is obviously very upsetting. There we go.
That's why killing them for can't count on fingers. How much time I cry? Who say gangsta no shed tears? I must see I demand. From your gun, your youth same devil like him life. I just that talk, they alone make every rifle rise. Yeah, warning nice. Portland the mount a gunshot, me and not even clappers, me not like slide. Blue still, my wish is still in my side.
There we go.
The
sounds of Chronicler on this one with RIP. Big tune indeed. Massive fan of Chronicler and what he is doing. This is a great approach, I feel. Definitely something that I've loved to hear from him. This very emotional side of lyricism, but still intertwining it with a big instrumental, which definitely has its sort of standalone qualities, regardless of the emotional context within the lyricism. Very enjoyable one. This one I'm going to go straight out and give a 4 out of 5. Very smooth stuff here, as always, on Cubcam TV. Coming up next, then, we're getting into one of the dons of the moment, and that is, of course, Regent King. This one goes by the name of Broken. Again, another emotive one. Regent King's very much in an emotional bag right now in regards to the music he's releasing. Absolutely love to see it. Let's get into this one right about now.
Oh, me? Banana bone in my closet, you know. Remember when me and youth are forward up and, you know, we have dreams, isn't it? Big dreams, and we still have dreams right now. I will see some of them come true and I never saw you want it, you know what I mean? You know, like, if I wish I couldn't repair back some damage.
Long introduction as well, very much focusing again on the title's Broken. Obviously, we know what's happened with Regent King recently. It's a very emotional topic, and I think what's going to be interesting about this one is how he kind of translates that into both lyricism and, of course, emotional performance within his vocal. Instrumental sounding nice, a lot of kind of shimmering textures going on in the background, extended vocal introduction as well. The video looks like it's pretty HD. Let's see where we go.
You can't fix some things that they can't be fixed. I not forgive, but I not forgive. Sometimes
video looks great.
I say, if I never pick up all this artist thing, I like, if money alright, you know. Like if certain things would even reach me, brother. Come here for the for me, who them as I say. In every way. I'm a thank God in every way.
This is really interesting because we're nearly a minute into this tune and we're yet to actually hear a breakdown or a drop. And obviously this is a very emotional tune. And obviously the subject matter is very emotional, so you can kind of allow it that bit of extra space across the introduction. The instrumental sounds great, really kind of interesting interwoven string lines on here. You've also got the sort of higher ended strings above that as well. Big sort of kick drums going on with the drums as well. Just there's a lot kicking about this as an instrumental. I'm just quite keen to hear what Rygin does vocal-wise when he does land.
Sometimes I ask myself like, why me, Jack? All of this a blessing, all of this a hate, I wonder all this a fight. I've been broken. Skies, some skies them. Lost some the lost them. Past from the present. Yeah, so many damages been done. I must be and I'm sing so. But still me not give up.
And this is where he comes cold, man. This is what Regent King can do. He can just completely switch a mood, an emotion, a feeling within a tune by actually landing. And I think his vocal on this is exactly what it needs to be. It's powerful, but it's not overbearing. It's impactful, but it doesn't cover the entirety. There's still enough room for the instrumental to breathe. We'll give this one a little bit of extra time just because of the extended intro, and then we'll move on to track number 3 of the day.
Hey, me remember the days when me never have nothing at all. I poverty teach me about survival. Yeah, my dreams come true and me I sing for the world. One king I ever get a youth idol. Me used to skip school and hide off, just to smoke and get tired of. Mommy never was around, daddy have it hard. The amount I can't break fruit, me I'm with salt until me a ball eats for call foreigner. JT and Georgia used to young and apply.
This is what Regent King does so well. Those higher-ended vocals, very impactful right from the jump. Again, the instrumental on this is nice. I love the video, the kind of blue suit with the piano out in the grass. Love that. There's something very striking about that as imagery, and it works really well. This one, despite the subject matter, I'm not a huge fan of extended intros. I kind of like the point to be hit as quick as possible, so I'm going to put this one down as a 3-5. But again, Rygin King absolutely killing it with what he does best, which at the moment is a very emotional approach to dancehall. Fantastic stuff, as always. Moving into track number 3 then, as we continue to peruse and scan around what's going on in dancehall, the man himself is back, Demarco. This one, Big, Bad and Brave, a brand new one from him. A legend of the game is Demarco. I'm excited to see how this one sounds. Let's go. Big switch up.
Talk, I make dog, me feel some type of way. Me don't talk, tell a G fi rise a care. Me lungs dark, it no seek, no sight a day. Bumbo clock, on the field where strike a play.
It's always good hearing Demarco back, man. And again, this one definitely diving into a much more sort of trap-influenced side of dancehall right now. The video, very, very simple. We can see what's going on. We've got a kind of gambling scenario going on. There's girls around. It's that sort of scenario. And it's a very clear and obvious video. But with that, I like this as a drop. I like the fact the instrumental is very stripped back across the introduction. Then suddenly, big, booming kick drum, booming kind of 808 roll underneath in regards to bassline, and with that you just hear Demarco start to go. Very clean approach, very impactful introduction. Let's see where we go.
Me say boy you da leak and try pa spray. Big up the dark G man, him have stripe a beer. When me say crime lad, I know the cyber play. Call them pedestrian, them get it right away. Big bad and brave. Step in on your face, me Timberlands raise. Boy check say him did I go live for long days. Bag of chip there and big pan of grains. Half grains, big bad and brave. Real G to me gun, the dog it won't change. Bag of broomstick with them boy they don't face. Close casket left a boy.
I'm loving this as an overall piece because I'm loving the ad-libs in the background. They're so powerful. You've literally got these kind of almost shouted ad-libs that have been turned down and pushed out. Very, very clear. I also really, really like this in regards to the sort of performance we're getting from Demarco. I think he's absolutely killing this in regards to the kind of cadences he's using, the impact of his vocal. The instrumental itself is very stripped back, some kind of quite light sort of plucked melody going on, but it's primarily about drums and the bass line underneath. That's pretty much all that we're getting when you layer the vocal in on top. They're the things that strike you. So there we go. We'll give this one a little bit more time and then move into track number 4, Big Bad and Brave from Demarco. This one's a yes from me. I think this is very much my kind of area that I enjoy listening to.
Without fears, nah joke with Big Bad and Brave. We no take threat, you can't bully we. Some boy no wanna smoke like when they fully weed. Bag of chums they are like when Nico do the beat. Some boy halfway in a badness we are fully street.
shepherd with the stick, dog with the sheep. Mama with the cow balling, that we do to beef. Dog, enough of them a rat, look what them do for cheese. Pussy you fi bleed,
yeah,
big
man.
bad and brave. Step in on your face, me Timberlands race. Boy, check same did I go live for long days.
There we go.
Chip there and big pad.
I love the transition into the hook. That big bad and brave, really, really smooth. I think this is why I'm a big fan of Demarco, man. He has a natural presence on tunes like this. He has this natural ability to kind of carry a tune and really kind of give it that impactful feeling. Great stuff from Demarco. Video looks good as well. His vocal performance on this is great. Very kind of assured. You know, you can hear the veteran status in his vocal and the clarity with which he's able to perform. Very, very clean indeed. This one I'm going to give a 4.5. This is just what I like to listen to. Again, this is all done on my preference. I'm not necessarily picking the 5 most popular tunes. I'm picking the 5 that kind of strike me the most and jump out at me the most. So that's what we're going to do. Moving on to track number 4 of the day. Very excited for this one as well. Brand new from iWater, another one who is incredibly consistent at the moment. This one sounds super, super smooth. By the sounds of things, it goes by the name of Fire. Let's jump into it right about now.
Trey Music.
Watch out, M3
it's a tune for the dances. Dance all for the dances.
Big like World Cup. Me still blind and a years been a school them for years. Please catch a further when me run out on the stage. But the last can't find them stuck in a the maze. Watch that a the phrase. Hot like fire, so me burning up. Play upon the chop, me and big turn it up. Watch it pretty Benz, the fucking journey rough. Man a bad monkey.
Now this for me, this is the definition of the sort of dancehall I would expect to be hearing in the clubs. Whether this just be a normal dance, whether it be just a normal kind of pop dance, this is the sort of tune I'd expect to hear in a place like that. It's the sort of tune I'd expect to hear in a general dancehall rave as well. Sounds great though. Instantaneously, iWater come in with that very, very impactful vocal line, very clean, very again. I'm just trying to think of a better way to describe it than impactful because I've said that word a lot. Like it hits you, you know. Like there's something about it that strikes you immediately. It makes an immediate impression, and you can sort of tell the vibe right from the jump as soon as you hear his vocal appear.
It connect them and panic when me reach a Birmingham. Couple bricks in the bag, me pick up a 4 terminal. Those who girl with pretty skin and link up, get the curvy one. Yeah, mula get the money and me signature. Don't try talk to me not similar. You feel lucky when you see me not regular. Can't make no phone call for no cellular. And see me turn up, me no Erica. Jump on a plane gone in a Trinidad. Then me make a next stop, run a Canada. Non-stop play to me reach a pinnacle. Don't try touch me.
So instrumental wise, you've got a lot of very, again, I want to say quite typical pop dancehall elements. Those chord progressions, it's a chord progression we've heard before. That sort of dum 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 dum. That little melody there. That's a chord progression that we have heard a lot of times before, and the rest of the tune is almost built around that. But what makes this one unique is iWater's approach to it. That little melody on top, those two sandwiched together works really well. I'm enjoying this, man. I think it's a great approach from iWater. I think he's doing exactly what the instrumental needs more than anything else. So we'll move on to the final run of this and then get into our final track of the day. Let's go.
Music on my tool. Aim for the heights, me no play time phone. For marking on the game, me no bambone. The player, I'm a cartoon. Family them love me and the fans them love me. Long before me start drive, long before luxury. Catch me in an offside, drop me low fuckery. Me no join the east, or she say, don't try talk to me no similar. You feel lucky when you see me no regular. Can't make no phone call for no cellular. And see me turn.
Smooth, man. iWater doing iWater things. Crazy tune. Great to hear, and good to hear him still being as consistent as he's been for the last year. Prior to starting this series, I was running a section on the Breakfast Show that I used to run every single week called The Pull Up, and that was literally the latest 9 dancehall tunes, and I'd run them all on for a half an hour section, and iWater used to feature near enough every single time, so it's great to see that consistency still in action. But we have got one more tune to get into. This one, I'm going to give it a 3.5. I think it could have been more expansive, it could have gone to more directions, but it's exactly what was needed. And again, 3.5 out of 5 isn't actually a bad rating at all. It doesn't sound like a 4, you know, but there we go. Big up iWater each and every time. Mr. Consistent in action. Moving into our final track of the day then. This one coming to us from the one and only Vybz Kartel. The official video for Polo Anthem is up now. We're going to get into this one, explore it and see how it sounds. Let's go.
Ralph Lauren, the style current. We have a buzz like the beast to the planet. What's a big? Gala comment. We know how they did everything correct. Ralph Lauren, the style current. We have a buzz like the beast to the planet.
Chopped and shot by Gordon Studio, I think that said.
Step out in a me polo, clean from me head to me toe, yo. Park up the Benz, make it no show. Up in at the Mark X and the condo. cruise.
Now, obviously, this is a tune we have already checked out on at the channel. I'm just quite keen to see if there's any changes in regards to how the video has been shot. This, for me, was going to be one of the summer anthems. I really like the fact that it's a very typical Vybz Kartel summer anthem. Like when Fever came out, you could just tell that was going to be a summer anthem, and it's something that Vybz Kartel is very good at, coming up with these summer anthem titles. I don't know whether this one's actually had the impact I expected it to, but again, you can still hear the sort of very, very slight clink of those guitar lines sounding very smooth. On top of that, you've got the big sort of impactful kick drums, bass line sounding good, and that typical Vybz vocal working magic as always.
Cruising a slow-mo, and the AC cool like snow flow. Girl, I watch we like TV so flow. Champagne on the fridge, yeah, we also.
I always find Vybz Kartel videos interesting, man.
Like Miami, in a Opalaka, roll out with the killer, we no carry Falabaka, Black Hawk, helicopter, be a chopper. What you mean? Hello, you have 1 million in the bonanza. Client like for creating a several country, make the money, then we fuck about I'm Chucky.
See that little vocal line there that Vybz Kartel, he's the only one that can do that. That's all. Just everything kind of going up and up and up and up. He's the only one that I know who can do that to that kind of level. Because he's a legend. Vybz Kartel is a legend of dancehall and will probably go down in about 10-15 years as the longest standing, the most impactful. I would assume so. But there we go. We'll give this one another 15-20 seconds or so and then round off today's video. I'm enjoying it as always. It's Polo Anthem. It's Vybz Kartel, anthemic business. Let's go.
Anywhere you eat, I forget the fame where I want your name.
Step out in a me polo, clean from me head to me toe, yo. Park up the Benz, make it don't show. Up in the market.
Yeah, the video's cool. It's pretty much someone just going to a party and filming people having a good time. Nothing wrong with that. To be honest, that's what all music video should be. And there we go. We will round this one off here. Vybz Kartel, Polo Anthem again. Big booming rolling 808 drums on the low end. His vocal is the catchy element about this, and I'm surprised it wasn't more impactful over the summer. If I'm being entirely honest with you, this one had all the elements that you'd expect from a Vybz Kartel summer banger. But there we go. This one I'm going to give it a 4.5 purely because of it fits the bill. You know, it fits the bill for what's needed for what we're listening to. So there we go, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed today's episode of Run the Rhythm. If you have, do make sure you are getting involved by hitting that subscribe button on the right-hand side of the page. Of course, turning notifications on, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and all of that good stuff. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and we shall see you all next time. Peace.
Sounding so good right now. But they're sounding a bright and town.
Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, Cubreacts TV. Stay locked.